It's a pleasure to be with you as we celebrate the accomplishments of our December 2017 graduates. Please remain in your seats and welcome the nursing class of December 2017. I would like to acknowledge the class officers, class representatives, and pinning officer. They have worked diligently as advocates for your class and in planning the pinning ceremony. Please stand when I call your names. Class President Doreen Patrick. Vice President Kylie Silva. Treasurer Nazifa Namaganda. Secretary Holly Catton. Class representatives Dan Roach. And Hilda Casozi. Pinning officer Emily Nicholson. Thank you for your leadership, hard work, and dedication. You have served as strong and tireless advocates for your classmates. It has been a pleasure working with you. You have been the most organized, proactive group with whom I have worked. I would also like to thank Student Service Specialist Beth Donahoe and Technical Coordinator John Gesso and his crew for all the assistance that they provided in the planning of today's ceremony. Especially, I would like to thank all the family and friends who provided the instrumental support and encouragement that was essential to the students' successful completion of this intensive and rigorous program. But most importantly, today is about you, each of you, the nursing graduates of December 2017. Today is a day to celebrate all of your accomplishments and to welcome you into the profession of nursing. It's my pleasure to introduce our new dean, who will provide welcoming remarks on behalf of the faculty and the college, faculty and staff of the college. Dr. Linda Thompson was appointed Dean of the College of Nursing and Health Sciences here at UMass Boston in this past August 2017. Since 2013, Dr. Thompson served as Dean of the College of Health Sciences and also as a professor of nursing at West Chester University in Pennsylvania. She oversaw a college with nearly 3,000 students, 100 faculty members, and 6 departments. Under her leadership, Westchester's College of Health Sciences established the first doctoral program within the university, while also growing its graduate education programs, establishing collaborative partnerships with the healthcare industry and international universities, and expanding faculty research activities. Throughout her career, Dr. Thompson has demonstrated wide-ranging abilities as a nurse, university administrator, developer and manager of public policy initiatives, and tireless promoter of policies and programs to improve the quality of life for children and youth. More than 30 years ago, she was among the first nurses to assess the characteristics of incarcerated youth, risk factors for delinquent behavior, and the importance of collaborative partnerships to promote healthy behaviors. Before going to Westchester, she served as the Chief Academic Officer at North Carolina A&T State University, and before that as Professor of Nursing and Associate Vice Chancellor of University Outreach, Distance Education, Professional Development. And she was a professor of nursing at A&T. She also served as Dean and Professor at Oakland University School of Nursing in Michigan, and in senior posts at the University of Maryland and Hampton University in Virginia. Dr. Thompson has held leadership positions in public policy as the City of Baltimore's Director of Occupational Medicine and Safety under Mayor Schmoke, and as Maryland's Special Secretary of Children, Youth, and Families under Governor Paris Glendinning. She has been an integral part of policy development for children and youth globally through her advisory and consulting roles in China, India, Korea, Brazil, and the Caribbean. Dr. Thompson has served on numerous boards and commissions, including the National Advisory Council of Minority Health and Health Disparities for the National Institutes of Health, the National Advisory Committee for the Nurse Faculty Scholars Program of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, the National Initiative on Children's Healthcare Quality, and the National Committee to Prevent Child Abuse. Dr. Thompson earned both her BSN and MSN degrees at Wayne State University and master's and doctoral degrees in public health from Johns Hopkins University. We are so blessed to have her as our leader and our dean. Dr. Thompson.
Good evening. Graduates, I know you're so thrilled, and you're just waiting on me to say welcome and let's get on with it, right? But I just want to first say I am just so proud to be here with you this evening and to share in the joy of your transition from the role of a student to your role as a professional nurse who's going to be solving so many of our world's problems. The nursing profession has been a wonderful profession for me, and I hope that you allow it to help you move in all of the directions that you want to move in. And to the relatives and friends of those who are here to be penned today, we all owe you a special debt of thanks. Many of you have made so many sacrifices to make this day possible, and I'm sure you are also overwhelmingly proud. You should be proud of yourselves because you understand the importance of investing in the future and investing in the future of our healthcare system. But I want to say a few things to the graduates as I offer my congratulations to you. And I know as a nursing student and today, you had to do a lot to get here. Juggling work, juggling classes, taking classes and doing all of the things that we get you to do in your clinical practice in hospitals and in the community, but you survived it and you will thrive. But I just want to share a few thoughts about how you can be everything that you want to be as you move on into your nursing career. One of the things you really need to think about is focusing on lifelong learning. I know you're graduating and you don't want to think about coming back to school, but in the 21st century, you are going to need to continue your education. In our information age, knowledge is exploding so quickly that in order for you to keep up, you have to continue to learn. You have learned how to learn with us, but you will need to discover and learn things. You will unlearn things that we taught you and learn new things as you go throughout your career. And in my career, I've had to learn so many things that I didn't learn in college, but the trick was for me is that you have to always learn how to adapt. You have to always be flexible, and you need to seize every opportunity that comes your way. In my story, I firmly believed in looking at opportunities, and I always tried to invest in my own learning. And as you commit to continuing education, I also want you to think about investing in yourself and investing in ways that you can become the future leaders. Most of us here on stage will be moving on to retirement one of these days. We need someone who will be able to step into our shoes and be the future deans, be the future presidents of universities, be the future chief nursing officers in hospitals. I know you don't want to think about that right now, right? But you all are our future leaders. And successful people are people who make thoughtful decisions, and they make thoughtful decisions based on their core values. These are the values that help shape you to be where you are today, and they're shaped by all of the people who touched your lives. Your family, your friends, your religious institutions, your schools, and your communities. And there's so much going on right now in our country that is challenging our values. I want you to promise that you will hold on to the things that you learned and not let things get in the way of you making the right decision about what's true science, what's true evidence, what's vulnerable, and what we need to be doing in order to improve the lives of people, not only in our country, but people all over the world. Leadership is truly important, and leaders are people who have a vision. They have a vision, and they stand by their vision. They care about people. They find ways to show that they care, and they always give with their heart and their soul. And as you do that, people will follow you. The best way to put your values into action is to respect yourself. Respect everybody around you. Extend yourself to others. And to be generous with your time, be generous with your talent, and be generous with your treasure as you move about your daily interactions. Just always remember to do the right thing. Remember, what inspires you and motivates you also energizes other people. And constantly pointing out people's faults, telling someone that they are doing a good job will help motivate people to always move in the right direction. Successful people are optimistic. They know how to bring out the best in others. They motivate everybody around them. They're able to commit to their passion, and they're able to generate positive energy. And they bring people together for a common goal and to achieve that common goal. And there's no one way to do anything, but always follow your heart and follow your passion. I want to conclude with a couple of things about maintaining yourself. You need to maintain not only your career, but also look at your personal life. Learn how to be your own best friend. Take time to reward yourself. Compliment yourself. Be selfish sometimes with your time. And remember, the best way to give back is to respect yourself, respect others, and take responsibility for everything you do. Try to avoid all of those bad people out there who will tell you negative things about yourself. They criticize because they know nothing else to say. Just remember, people who care about you will not criticize you. Try to always keep laughing, love and be engaged in things that you do. Learn that some people will never be on your side. You just have to learn that there's some people who will not be your friend, some people who will only be your friend when there's a common interest for them. When you learn that, then you can move on, because you can't make everyone happy. Make yourself happy. Don't be a doormat. Express your thoughts with dignity. Keep your courage of your convictions. And try to use all of the talents that you learned here, learning how to analyze and decide for yourself what's right and what's wrong. Don't be afraid to challenge people in leadership. You've learned how to learn. You've learned how to make decisions. And some of the decisions that people may be making for you might not be the best. So you can learn how to say no, but learn how to say no with dignity and respect. So as you move on from here, remember that all of the faculty and the staff here at University of Massachusetts, Boston, they love you. They want to stay in contact with you. We all are moving in a new direction. One day we want a new building. Stay in contact with us and help us to be one of the best urban public universities in the United States and America. So God bless you, and good luck with everything you do.
Thank you, Dean Thompson, for your thoughtful remarks. Would Kemi Ikwanasi please come to the podium to introduce our keynote speaker?
Mary Sue Howlett, PhD, Masters of Science in Nursing, registered nurse/family nurse practitioner, board certified, and certified emergency nurse, started her nursing career after graduating from the University of Vermont more than 33 years ago, and has worked in emergency, critical care, forensics, and education in both community hospitals and academic medical centers. She returned to school at UMass Boston in 2007 as a master's student and became a family nurse practitioner in 2010. Still seeing patients as a family nurse practitioner in urgent care, Mary Sue utilizes her assessment skills in NU 220 lab, hoping to help new nurses develop strong clinical practice. Mary Sue is an associate director in the Division of Nursing at the Massachusetts Nurses Association, where she's an educator for the statewide professional nursing organization. At Massachusetts Nurses Association, she consults on clinical practice and regulatory issues relative to practice within Massachusetts. Mary Sue is currently pursuing a PhD in nursing focused on health policy and driven by the need to have nursing at the table as healthcare policies are developed and nursing practice evolves. Mary Sue's research focus is the workplace experience of racially and ethically diverse, newly licensed nurses.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Dean Thompson, Dr. DeMarco, Dr. Healy-Walsh, distinguished members of our faculty, parents, family, and friends here to celebrate, and most importantly, the UMass Boston Fall 2017 graduates of nursing. Congratulations. It is a pleasure to be here. I can't tell you how honored I was when Doreen reached out asking me to share this very special day with you. Thank you for the opportunity. It was an honor to be a part of the very early steps of your nursing journey as you began to develop your practice, and I am very happy to be here to celebrate this next phase of your journey as you transition from student to graduate. It has been an incredible couple of years, don't you think? For those of you who are in my lab section, and the rest of you can imagine what it would have been like for you, think back to day one of Health Assessment Lab, when you interviewed a classmate and documented what you learned from your mock patient. I looked at those notes that many of you scribed, and I recall very scant information, in no particular order, that offered little to no insight into your patient's status. Just 15 weeks later, at the end of that semester, you were performing comprehensive head-to-toe physical assessments and documenting your findings in a cohesive and logical note with accuracy. And concurrently using those same skills at your clinical sites with real patients as you continued to grow. And now, armed with everything that UMass Boston has given, you are ready to take on the challenges of practice as a registered nurse. After one more small box is checked, the NCLEX. I'm not going to dwell on that exam. You have likely given it enough thought all by yourself. But I am going to give you just a couple of tips to get through it. There seems to be a magic number of study hours. Those nurses who study at least 100 hours historically pass the test on their first attempt. It is not the 100 hours that is the magic. Rather, those who are not successful have typically studied less than that amount. Make a plan, stick to it, and when you feel ready to test, test. I firmly believe it is in your best interest to keep your test date to yourself. Letting others know when you are scheduled puts added pressure on you, in addition to the pressure that you are already feeling. It makes sense to take a dry run to the testing site so you're not struggling with directions or where to park on the day of your exam. Don't study the day before you test. Do something relaxing. Eat well before the exam. Protein is probably a very good idea. Test at your best time of day. If you're a morning person, book an 8 a.m. slot. If you're better in the afternoon, go for 2 p.m. Leave your phone in the car, bring your ID with you, take each question in isolation, and don't dwell on previous questions. And finally, send a member of the faculty an email or a text when you get your results. We look forward to hearing from each one of you. Once you have that license, proudly wear those initials RN. You have earned it, and it is a privilege that we will be happy to share with you. As you enter the field as a registered nurse, learn from those around you. Learn from those you witness in practice. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good, but we can all learn from each other. You will take a little bit of every nurse you see and consciously or unconsciously allow them to influence your own practice. You may see something that you really admire and want to emulate, or something that makes you think, I don't ever want to be that person. Hopefully you've learned from your faculty and have taken a little bit of each of us to develop your current practice. As you start that first job, take some time to watch those around you and figure out who you can best learn from, who you can trust to help you when you are in trouble. There are days when you just can't see what's happening with your patient and you need another set of eyes. Think about who you want to ask for help. Identify a mentor. Start as you mean to go, and be sure that mentor can help you reach your goal. Your first job is likely not your forever job, but with every position, you will learn and bring even more to your next employer. Your first job will help you to refine your organizational skills, your communication skills, and strengthen your clinical skills. You will learn what you like and which areas of nursing practice you may or may not want to continue in. My career has taken me places that while I was in school, I said I would never work in. Keep an open mind. And because I am basically pragmatic, I have some simple words of advice. I have always carried my own professional liability insurance, my own personal policy, and I have never signed a narcotic waste that I did not witness. Make sure that your signature means something. As the new staff person, you may be the target someone feels they can pressure into co-signing an unwitnessed waste. Don't do it. Follow policies and protocols, and if you think something doesn't make sense, double check it. Go with your gut and trust your instincts. You're probably right. And if you're not, it's a great opportunity to learn something new. Don't ever feel like you can't ask a question. Advocate for your patients. Your patients depend on you. Nurses, first and foremost, are advocates. As registered nurses, we as a profession often tell our patients, I'm going to be a nurse today. Be more clear. The general public truly does not understand what we do. As you are providing care for your patient, Tell them what you're doing. Let them know you're listening to their heart and lungs and assessing their cardiac and pulmonary status, interpreting their vital signs and your physical exam findings so that you can then collaborate with physicians, therapists, and other members of the healthcare team. Educate them about their medications, their disease process, and strategies to wellness. You worked for it. Let your patients know what you do. Being an RN is a privilege. We are invited into the lives of our patients and their families at some really difficult times, some really happy times, and some really challenging times. It might be a new diagnosis, a death, a cure, a birth, some life-changing event. And we as nurses get to share those moments with patients. I want to read you something that I've had hanging in my office for years, and every so often I read it and remember really why I do love being a nurse. It is called Reflections on the Hands of a Nurse, written by Mark Darby, an emergency room nurse I heard speak at a national conference many years ago. Let us take a moment to remember our hands, for these are no ordinary hands. These are the hands of a nurse. These are the hands that help us do our work. These are the hands that carry out the skills that make nursing possible. Let us remember our hands and be grateful for what they do. For the eyes may see, the mouth may speak, but it is the hands that hold, the hands that heal, the hands that give the caring touch. These are the hands that feel the first breath of a newborn child. These are the hands that feel the last breath of a dying one. These are the hands that hold a family who has just lost a loved one. These are the hands that clap for joy at the healing of a disease. These are the hands that insert tubes that bring healing to the body. These are the hands that touch a forehead and tell, within a degree, normal or febrile. These are the hands that feel the pulse and know fast or slow, weak or strong, effective or for naught. These are the hands that restrain the angry from self-harm. These are the hands that compress the sternum to bring life. These are the hands that clean unspeakable places on another person's body, but do so with dignity and respect, which allow that person to feel like a human being. These are the hands of different people, not just black or white, brown or yellow, but all. These are not the hands of male or female, but both. Other hands may build bridges or write books. Other hands may even pull the trigger or plunge the knife, but these are the hands of life. These are the hands that take up the task passed down from so long ago to bring healing to the sick, comfort to the afflicted, hope to the hopeless. But these are not the hands of timid maidens who look for directions outside themselves. These are also the hands that can be clenched because sometimes something has got to change. These are the hands of a nurse, and these are the hands that have the privilege of being at the bedside. For these are the hands of a nurse, the hands of a person that does a job that not everyone can do. These are the hands of a nurse, the hands of a strength and compassion and love. These are the hands of a nurse. These are my hands. And now to help you remember how important your hands are to others, Teresa and Emily are going to help me and give you pins with the initials RN. Wear it with confidence and pride. Take care of those hands and always remember why you became a nurse. Sometimes you just can't remember. Some days are just harder than others. There are days when you'll feel sad and days when you will laugh with your patients. You are human. Don't ever forget that. There will be days when you feel like you can handle anything and days when you want to quit. There are the days when your support system is crucial. Stay in touch with your friends and know who you can call. Nobody understands what we do like another nurse. I don't think I have ever met a nurse who in the first year of practice didn't cry with frustration or call back to the unit because they woke up in the middle of the night unsure if they gave that med or signed something off. And in days gone by, when we physically locked the narcotic cabinet with a key, we all took the keys home accidentally, and at some point, only to drive back to the hospital to drop them back off. We've all done it. But those middle-of-the-night wake-ups in a cold sweat get less frequent in time. Remember, we have all done it. Take care of yourself. Keep it all in perspective. Know your limits, and extend those limits in time as you grow both personally and professionally. But really take care of yourself. Exercise. Be sure to build that into your day. It's hard when you work long days and switch between shifts, but you need to do something for yourself. We cannot take care of others if we do not take care of ourselves. Take the time for you. Eat well, though I'll be honest, it's really hard to eat fruits and vegetables on the night shift. That shift was just made for carbs. Get your rest and sleep well. Stay in touch with friends and do something fun regularly. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Learn the names of those around you, the housekeepers, the transport staff, the unit secretary. They can make or break your day. And speak kindly to them all, because words matter. The words we use with coworkers, the physicians, physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapy, the aides, the technicians, the secretaries, and most importantly, our patients and families. And those words are sometimes what makes a difference for somebody else. Many years ago, I walked into church and was approached by a man I had seen in the past, but I just couldn't place him. He said, "You took care of my wife when she was dying. You were the nurse. I will never forget what you said to me that day. It helped me through a really difficult time." I have no idea what I said to him that day. Unfortunately, because it seems like something I should have needle-pointed on a pillow. But it made a difference for that patient and family, and I was grateful that he shared that with me. And I often think of that when I speak with patients. Words do matter. Choose them carefully. My wish for you is that you love the field as much as I have, and don't ever forget why you became a nurse. It is truly a privilege. I want to close with a short video that I hope you take with you and think of especially on those days when you are most challenged. Heed these suggestions on how to live a happy and rewarding life. And as nurses, you make a difference every day. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mary Sue, for sharing your experience, your well-earned advice, and inspirational thoughts. We will now proceed with the presentation of pins and the roses. Beth Donahoe, our nursing student service specialist, who shared her outstanding organizational skills and provided much guidance and assistance to the pinning committee, was asked to present the roses. Our first group of students who are going to be pinned tonight are from our RN to BSN program. So these are practicing registered nurses who return to school to advance their degree. Would Professor Salvucci, who is director of the RN to BSN program, please come forward to pin these students? Right over here. Right here is fine. Lena DeBrilla. Stephanie Amate. Min Tran. Amanda Eldridge. Darlene Hilaire. I would like to call Nancy Kelly, Professor Kelly, to come up to the podium with Professor Salvucci. And if Karen Collins will come forward, her sister Nancy, who is a clinical instructor for us, will pin her. Professor Faust, please come forward. Anastasia Alexkava. Jacob Ballestein. Kelly Bradley. Josh Brewster. Ashley Bucheri. Ashley Cardona. Jade Carrero. Danielle Casina Cabrera. Professor Kafel, if you please come forward. Thank you. Holly Marie Catton. Benjamin Chen. Lucas A. Clada. Alexandria Conley. Michael Conley. Julie Davis. Allie Dayton. Jacqueline DeWeer. Would Professor Harker Ryan please come forward? Nora Elizabeth Donovan. Aluchi Egelano. Stephanie Estilet. Michael Freitas. Matthew Funk. Fernanda Gonzalez. Genevieve Hammond. Florence May Hernandez. Will Professor Roberts please come forward? Nicole Hunkler. Kemi Aquanasi. Kimberly Joseph. Hilda Casozi. Jagjot Kaur. Paulina Kuzchinska. Jessica Labor. Miriam Nakasi. Will Professor Balut please come forward? Danite Mana. Liz McGowan. Leslie McKeever. Nazifa Namaganda. Jessica Nascimento. Tenzing Namdung. Emily Nicholson. Maura O'Connor. Will Professor Jagelski please come forward? Doreen Patrick. Nasinet Petros. Linda Rivera. Dan Roach. Sarah Rogers. Julian Rospide. Leah Ryan. Kylie Silva. Will Professor Mulready Schick please come forward? Angelina Stricken. Laurie Trout Savino. Chichi Udina. Carissa Upton. Angela Vu. Kelly Walls. Thank you to our faculty pinners and our pinnies. It's really a wonderful, it's a very old and respected and symbolic tradition. So we are so happy to be able to share it with you this evening. So now I'd like to have Dan Roach come up to the podium. Dan, who served as the class representative and Student Nursing Association president, was selected by his classmates to give the student address.
To get the nerves out there. Whew. All right. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank my classmates for electing me to be up here speaking tonight. I thought you had all heard enough of me already. But who am I and why am I up here? Well, my name's Dan. Hello. And I'm pretty sure I'm up here because everyone knows I have a big mouth. I also think it's partially due to the fact that, as my classmates will tell you, and my professors, and my parents, I like to challenge authority. It's an understatement. Well, that's made some ripples for me along the way. It also makes me excellent at car shopping. So seriously, give me a call if you need a hand with that. When I started nursing school, I did not expect to be giving any speeches at any time, so I also want to talk about how realizing who you are and what you stand for, or for me, having a big mouth and challenging authority, can change your course and bring you closer to your goals. But what I really want to take this time to talk about is why we are all here right now. What led us to this moment? What is it that we are really here to celebrate? Because it's not just the attainment of a degree or a new career path. It's a lot more than that. I have a history of speaking for my peers, for saying what they want to say, and I hope to do that for them now, to do them justice, and to make you, our loved ones, proud of their accomplishments. So, here goes nothing. Having a bachelor's already, I started this program only 2.5 years ago in a summer course called Health Promotion and Teaching. This is a writing seminar that focused on nursing topics. I was thrilled to meet some classmates, many of whom are here today, but was disappointed that this nursing course did not make me feel like I was in nursing school. Then later that summer, right before school started, my scrubs arrived. Our scrubs arrived. Now, I think I can speak for most of my cohort when I recall what it felt like to get my UMass Boston scrubs in the mail. And I will shamelessly admit that the first thing I did was throw them on, add my stethoscope, and probably a pen or so for legitimacy, and took a selfie, obviously. We could barely contain our excitement because we knew that we were about to embark on a journey that would not only change our lives, but change us. We didn't know how or when this change would happen, but I think we all knew that it was inevitable. So with the nervous excitement, we started our first clinical semester together. During these first 4 months together, a time I like to refer to as nursing boot camp, we took 16 credits of coursework with 6 hours per week of clinical. During this boot camp, we learned to establish trust with another student so we could assess them from head to toe, as well as to assess their history, their pain, and their emotional state. We also learned the pathophysiology, or the incorrect functioning of the body, for, 100 or so diseases. We learned nursing theory and basic care guidelines, but what we did was also experience our first clinical. I always describe my first rotation as a kick from behind that sends you face first into nursing. Because during these first rotations, you're placed in units where the patients are totally reliant on others for their most basic needs: feeding, dressing, hygiene. So what we also learn in caring for the elderly, the paralyzed, and the neurologically impaired is that we have the opportunity to learn to care for these people. That when people are too sick or old or injured to care for themselves, we would be able to help them do what they cannot. The following semester we thought might be a little easier now that we were, had some feet on the ground a little bit. Wrong. You know those commercials for medications where they list all those side effects and all the reasons you shouldn't take it? Well, that was our pharmacology class for basically every drug on the planet, or so it felt. That was our 3-credit class. In our 9-credit class, we learned how to function as nurses. As one of our professors, Katie Kafel, told us in our clinical orientation for the course, giving a speech that I always remember, like one of those pep talks a coach gives the team in one of those dramatic sports movies before the end big game. Really felt like that, so thank you for that. I will never forget that. She said, during this course, you will become nurses. When you finish this rotation, you will know what it is to be a nurse. You will feel like a nurse, and you will understand what it is to have someone's life in your hands. She was right. In clinical, we did 12-hour days every week from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. In the classroom with the amazing Dr. Suha Balut, we spent our 3-hour block every week on a different body system, sometimes 2, learning all of the major diseases for those systems. And by learning the diseases, I mean who is at risk for them, and what factors make them at risk, what the disease looks like when somebody has it, how we treat it with surgery or medicine, and how we care for that person afterwards in the hospital, what the complications look like when they happen, how we treat those, and then how do we teach them for when they go home to care for themselves. Did I mention that this was for every major disease for every body system? The semester felt like hell, but Katie Kafel was right. On the other side of it, we understood nursing, or at least in its most basic and accessible form. Ahead of us were 2 semesters of specialties where we learned to care for people at some of the most vulnerable moments in their lives. We had 2 rotations per week where we cared for mother and baby in the days immediately following birth. We learned to care for patients who had been admitted to psychiatric units, people whose thoughts and emotions were not their own to control, who suffered from psychosis, hallucinations, mood imbalances, who had physical and psychological dependency to drugs, people who because of this are marginalized by our socioeconomic system. We had to unswaddle a peaceful little newborn angel and put a cold stethoscope on it, causing it to wake up and scream right in front of the parents while they're standing over your shoulder. We also got to see a birth, to witness the amazing moment when a new human being, a new soul, comes into the world. We also learned to care for children and their families while they're hospitalized. Having also done my preceptorship in pediatrics, believe me, this is absolutely an art in itself. The rule of thumb is that the parents are always worse than the children. It's easy to say, but what we as nurses know, can you blame them? The parents are our patients too. We were sent into the community to work in city public schools, community health centers, and as visiting nurses, again, caring for those who are left near the bottom of the socioeconomic priorities list. In doing so, we were able to see the massive opportunities in our systems that leave the most vulnerable among us as humans to care for themselves. It's easy for many people to blame addicts, to blame homeless people, to be apathetic to those who are impoverished or elderly, but not nurses. As students of nursing, we see the reality of life for so many different people, and it's our job, our duty, to help them meet their goals and to treat each and every one as if they were our own family. But what does it take to do that exactly? From what I've learned, it takes presence. So I want to take a moment to address what I mentioned earlier about owning the traits that make you you and using them to help accomplish your goals. Something I learned in my first degree, studying neurobiology, which was then reinforced in my psych classes for nursing, is that from the time you're born and throughout your life, you build up habits, or as psychologists would say, conditioning. What this means is that when we're exposed to a certain experience or input, we eventually build up a habitual or conditioned response to them. What's interesting is that we become totally unaware of these habits as we grow older. They become embedded in us and constitute a big part of who we think we are. For example, if I were to say something insulting to you right now, you'd probably react with anger, resentment, maybe fear. That's largely because that's your go-to response. But what if you stop for a moment, consider that your emotional reaction, even though it feels so real, is actually a choice. And that if you chose a different response, what if you chose compassion? What if you chose indifference? How would that change the outcome not only for you, but also for me, the offender? Another way to look at it is one of my favorite examples from the Dalai Lama. If I told you that we were going to go on a roller coaster, a big one of the big drop in the beginning, a couple of loops, some barrel rolls, it was really fast, how many of you would love it? How many of you would hate it and be terrified? What's interesting is that whichever side you are on, we would all be on the same ride. It's an excellent metaphor for perspective. Now think about how we can apply this to our lives and our careers. We have just accomplished something great. For me, nursing school plus balancing work for money, maintaining social connections, and extracurricular involvement was as difficult as I thought med school would be. You've proven to yourself and to the people in this room that you can. Don't forget that you accomplished a dream of yours. You crushed a major life goal. So what now? What I want you all to know is that you can have everything you want if you're willing to pause every now and then to be in the present, because know this, the past is history. It will give you experience to draw on, and that's golden, but it's over, so don't dwell on it. Be here, be now. Take a breath and feel the moment. The future? Well, the future is a mystery, and the beauty in that is that you can determine what happens in the future by taking control of what you can, which is the present. The present is a gift. See what I did there? You can decide to feel angry or frustrated or not good enough or hopeless, or you can choose to feel hopeful, inspired, energetic, strong, and compassionate. Every action you take and every emotion you feel is a choice in the present. So in your life, maybe even now, take a moment and think. If I were to meet my future self, maybe 10, 20 years from now, where would I be living? What would my home look like? Who's there with me? How do I spend my days? How do I spend my free time? This will help you have a vision for yourself and to determine your goals. When you're confronted with a challenge or a decision, ask yourself, will what I choose to do bring me closer to my goals, to my ideal life, to my ideal self? An example of this was in med-surg when I got a grade on our second exam that I was less than happy with. After a breakdown to Dr. Balut, she looked me in the eye and told me that I cared too much about my grades. She was right. I was pre-med in my first degree and had been conditioned to be competitive and to push myself so hard that only getting all A's and being the best was important to my future. Then she said, what happens when you go apply to school later on down the road and somebody else has the same GPA as you? What then? How can you show whoever is considering you who you are and how you stand out? A pause. Well, damn, she was right. And in that moment, in that pause, I was able to snap out of my conditioning. I stopped putting so much pressure on myself for grades and kept myself open to other opportunities where I could use my strengths. By the end of that semester, I had been elected as class representative for my big mouth and my will to challenge authority, or as I now call it, having courage in my convictions. At the end of the next semester, I became the president of the Student Nurses Association, and at the end of the next, I became the first student on a state coalition for nursing. Now, the point is not to glorify my accomplishments, because for me, they were a natural fit for my skills, and those positions would be entirely boring for a lot of other people. But the point is, when you stop and realize your perspectives, when you stop and really look at your thoughts and your emotions, your responses to life, you can change them. And when you change them in a way that's in line with your values, you align yourself with your vision and your goals. That's all I wanted to say about that, and to thank Dr. Balut for a verbal slap in the face that I really needed. To wrap it up, over the last years, we have laughed together, we've learned together, we've experienced the birth of a child together, pulled each other through stress and fear. We've seen firsthand life, and we've seen death. We've taken exams together, we've done projects together, we've even cleaned poop together. Holly, that's a really special memory I have at the VA. This past semester, we were sent off to put a month's worth of full-time work in our preceptorship placements. We've had the opportunity to show our instructors and ourselves what we've learned and what we're made of. These last few years have been anything but easy, and every now and then they were fun, but they have been nothing short of transformative, because together we endured. We studied, we wrote papers, we cared for strangers. Sometimes we struggled to put food on the table. We took care of our kids. We went to work, having hardly slept from last night's overnight. And in all of this, we became nurses. We are nurses. For me, I have to thank Dr. Judy Healy-Walsh for being one of the most caring and just nurses and professors I could ever imagine. Matt, my partner in crime. Jake, my roommate through all of this struggle, listening to my crazy. Kylie, my very first nursing school friend. Genevieve, because you asked for a shout out, so there you go. And my family, my parents. I, in no way, would be up here or even in this room today if it weren't for your support. And I thank you all, my peers, and the loved ones who are here with you today, because without each and every single person in this room, we would not be celebrating the entry of all of these new nurses into the profession. Everyone in this room is to be celebrated tonight, because to make a nurse, it takes a village. And this is our UMass Boston College of Nursing December 2017 cohort. You have all made it possible for us to be here, to receive our pins, and to take the Nightingale Pledge. So thank you to my classmates. We are a family. And thank you to everyone else from my classmates for helping us to get where we are in this moment. Thank you.
I think we all agree that you made the best selection. Dan, thank you for that journey through your educational traumas, I guess I would say. It was really great advice, a lot of thought that you put into it, and I really like the humor. It's very helpful. And I would like to say thank you to all of our faculty. Dan mentioned many of them, but they really are so dedicated, and they really care very much about each one of you. So I would like to have Dr. DeMarco come forward. Dr. DeMarco is the nursing department chair, and she will lead the graduates in the Nightingale Pledge. So graduates, please rise.
Good evening, everybody. Well, before we begin this very important pledge, I wanted to acknowledge just again a couple of groups of people. First of all, I'd like our faculty to stand and everybody give them a hoot and holler. Thank you. And I'd also want to acknowledge, again, somebody who's very important. Dan did a fabulous job of acknowledging Dr. Judy Healy-Walsh. Let's hear it for Dr. Judy. So just to explain my sense of pride of introducing and asking us to give applause to our esteemed faculty and Judy as a member of our faculty and our leader in the undergraduate program is, as chair of the department, I'm the faculty leader of our undergraduate programs, our graduate programs, and our doctoral programs, and it's a great privilege for me to be here to do this with you right now. You know, I heard Dan talk about presence, and I heard Dean Thompson talk about the promise that you all are for us. And so we're about to make a promise. And so I'd ask you to think about this, because I'm convinced every time I do this with all of our graduates every year that the reason the American public trusts us and depends on us in everything we do is because of the words we're about to say. So I want you to think about every word when you say it. Don't just say it. Think about it with intention, with presence, as Dan said. You are our promise. We're going to make a promise together. You ready? And just repeat after me. With full knowledge of the responsibilities I am undertaking, I pledge to care for my patients with all the knowledge, skills, and understanding that I possess, without regard to race, color, creed, politics, or social status. I will spare no effort to conserve meaningful life, to alleviate suffering, and to promote health. I will refrain from any action which might be harmful to the quality of life or health of those I care for. I will respect at all times the dignity and religious beliefs of the patients under my care, and hold in professional confidence all personal information entrusted to me. I will endeavor to keep my professional knowledge and skills at the highest level, and give my support and cooperation to all members of the health team. With full awareness of my qualifications and limitations, I will do my utmost to maximize the potential of the nursing profession. And to uphold and advance its standards. Thank you and congratulations.
Seated. Thank you, Dr. DeMarco. You always do such a wonderful job leading our graduates. So today we formally acknowledge your membership in the nursing profession through the symbolic tradition of the pinning ceremony. We are no longer student and teacher, but now nursing colleagues. You are alumni and join the ranks of many graduates who have gone before you, and you assume your place in our history. As you transition from a student to a clinician, we have a clear vision of who a UMass Boston nurse is, and we believe that you are well prepared to fulfill this vision as compassionate, skillful nurse, able to provide safe, culturally congruent, high-quality, relationship-centered care, an intentional learner, able to make sound clinical judgments, a collaborating member of an interprofessional healthcare team, a reflective clinician committed to evidence-based practice and lifelong learning, a productive citizen dedicated to community engagement and social justice, a leader in nursing, advancing the art and science of nursing practice. You have been a wonderful cohort, and I mean that sincerely. We are proud to have each of you as an alum. We want you to know that we will always welcome you back, whether it is for a visit, as a clinical instructor, or to pursue graduate education. And I know all of you will work in the community at some point in your career. We know that you are well prepared for your next hurdles, your licensing exam and job search, and that you will make substantial contribution to your patients' well-being and to the nursing profession. We wish for you continual happiness, success, and fulfillment throughout your long and meaningful nursing career. So once again, congratulations. I'm a crier, you know. I don't know how I did hospice nursing. I don't know. So thank you. Thank you to all of our faculty and our administrators. The students have put together a very special slideshow where they truly express their gratitude. So we will end with the slideshow, and I have a couple of brief announcements. And again, thank you to all of you. I think tonight was just such a wonderful celebration of these beautiful new nurses.
So this is what you meant when you said that you would spend. And now it's time to build from the bottom of the pit right to the top. you understand that I'm never changing who I am? It's time to begin, isn't it? I get a little bit better than I've been. I'm just the same as I was. Don't you understand that I'm never changing who I am?
So I think that was a beautiful tribute to all the family and friends here, and thank you for sharing that with us. We get to see a little bit about your family and friends that maybe we didn't get to know while you were in the program here. So I think it's a very fitting ending. Many people who spoke earlier today talked about gratitude, and I think it's always so important for us to express our gratitude. So just please be sure not to leave any programs, water bottles, other materials in the auditorium, because I have to clean up after this, so I'd like you to take everything with you. And again, thank you to everyone. Congratulations to the students. I'm not sure, were the refreshments, are there still some refreshments downstairs, or have they been, if there's still some, people can, on their way out, maybe grab something. And I would ask that you remain seated as our wonderful graduates process out. Okay, take your signs with you. Take your name signs. Yeah. And if you could take your name signs with you, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you, Benjamin.